Friends, welcome to today's session. In your previous session, we have started the chapter charge of GST. So the charging section of CGST Act, that is section 9, we have started learning that. We'll continue with that section 9 and some other provisions we'll be learning today. I'm going to share the relevant screen with you. I think screen is visible to you now.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So before understanding the charging provisions or before understanding the section 9 of CGST Act, we need to understand few definitions. Just a minute. Yeah. And these are few definitions we have already learned. Like sorry, central tax, integrated tax, state tax, etc., goods, services, exempt supply, aggregate turnover, the meaning of business, the meaning of consideration. All these things we have learned. Then few other definitions like definition of person, definition of recipient, reverse charge, taxable supply, non-taxable supply, supplier. All these things you have understood. Okay, now after that we learned this extended commencement of GST law. What is the definition of India also? In that context, we understood. Okay, then we came to this part, levy and collection of CGST and IGST. And CGST part is dealt with section 9 of CGST Act, and IGST part is dealt in section 5 of IGST Act. Both of them are similar sections. And coming to section 9, which talks about the levy and collection of CGST. There are in fact 5 subsections we learned. So first subsection, let me quickly recapitulate this thing. It says, subject to provisions of subsection 2, there shall be levied tax called the Central Goods and Services Tax on all intrastate supplies of goods and services or both. That means whenever there is some intrastate supply, the CGST shall be levied. Of course, SGST shall also be levied. We know all intrastate supplies attract 2 kinds of taxes. One is CGST, other one is, what's the other one?
SGST.
SGST, right? All intrastate transactions, supplies will be attracting this kind of GSTs. CGST plus SGST. And all intrastate supplies will attract
IGST.
IGST, right? And since we are learning CGST Act, and this Act will be talking about CGST, right? It says the central GST, that is CGST, will be collected on all intrastate supplies. But it also says it excludes one item here. Subsection 1 says it excludes one item, that is alcoholic liquor for human consumption. That is excluded. So charging section doesn't apply to that. Consequently, as of now, GST is not levied on alcoholic liquor for human consumption. Now, how GST will be levied? GST will be levied on a value, and that value shall be determined under section 15. So section 15 determines what is the value, and earlier also we have discussed what is section 15. It mostly talks about the transaction value has to be taken, most of the cases. And for your information also, you should know there is a GST valuation rule. When transaction value is inappropriate, we have to follow that rule. Accordingly, the supply can be valued, and on that value, GST can be levied. And this particular subsection also says that this CGST shall not be exceeding how much? What is the percentage?
So 20%.
20%. So CGST part cannot exceed 20%. Maximum CGST can be 20%. Okay. Or as may be notified by the central government. And this GST will be collected as may be prescribed and shall be paid by the taxable person. So taxable person has to pay this. This is the first subsection of section 9. Second subsection also excludes some more items. Okay, there are in fact 5 items. So it says the central tax and supply of these items shall be levied with effect from a date as may be notified by the central government on the recommendation of the council. So far GST council has not recommended and central government has not notified. So consequently, these 5 items are also out of purview of GST. Okay, what are these 5 items? Can you tell these 5 items?
So petroleum crude,
Petroleum crude,
high speed diesel,
yeah,
motor spirit, commonly known as petrol, natural gas, and aviation turbine fuel.
okay. So now you have understood these 5 items. Plus in earlier subsection also talking about one item, that is alcoholic liquor. All these are the items on which GST as of now is not leviable. Now coming to section 3, it says the government may, on recommendation of the council by notification, specify category of the supply. That means some specific category of supplies shall be notified by the central government. Specific category of supply. It may be goods or service or both. To which reverse charge is applicable. You know the reverse charge mechanism. In our initial chapter, broadly we have understood what is reverse charge. Today we will be learning in detail what is reverse charge. This particular subsection says that central government may, by notification, specify category of supply. That means only some specific category of supply can be specified to which reverse charge is applicable. Okay, once we know the reverse charge is applicable, then all the provisions of this act shall apply to the recipient as if he is the person who is liable to pay GST. This provision also we know. Fourth subsection, if you are coming to this fourth subsection, there are some similarity between subsection 3 and subsection 4. Subsection 3, you say it says the government may specify category of supply. Now look at subsection 4, it says similar kind of thing. It says the government may, on recommendation of the council by notification, specify a class of registered persons who shall, in respect of supply of specified categories of goods and services or both, receive from an unregistered supplier. That means if these are the people or these are the specified category of goods or services, if they are received from unregistered suppliers, okay, then what will happen? The recipient shall pay tax on reverse charge basis. Here condition is that earlier we have discussed this point. There are 3 essential features of this provision or this subsection. That means the recipient should be a registered person, the supplier should be an unregistered person, and the supplier should be taxable goods and services. Okay, if these 3 things are there, reverse charge provision under subsection 4 will be applicable. Subsection 4 of 9 will be applicable. And we have done this particular exercise also. In which situation reverse charge is applicable, which situation is not applicable in the previous class we have tested. Okay, on your own interest, you can see it again. Now coming to subsection 5. It talks about the government may, on recommendation of the council by notification, specify categories of services, the tax and interested supplies of which shall be paid by e-commerce operator. This concept also we will be learning today. That means in certain situations, it is the e-commerce operators who are liable to pay tax, pay GST. If such services are supplied through it, if certain services are supplied or routed through an e-commerce operator, then it is the e-commerce operator who is liable to pay tax, pay GST. Okay, e-commerce operator means electronic commerce operators. We'll be understanding who are they. Okay, and we also know that this e-commerce operator should have physical presence in the taxable territory. If he doesn't have physical presence, the person who is liable to pay tax, he will be the person who is representing the e-commerce operator, then he will be liable to pay tax. Okay. His representative is liable to pay tax. In case there is no representative, the e-commerce operator has to appoint a representative. Okay, this concept we know earlier. And I was talking about one more thing also, how to know the value of the supply. We need to know the value of the supply, because on that value only tax rates shall be applied. Suppose we know the value of the supply is 1 lakh. On that 1 lakh, let us say 18% will be applicable. So we'll apply 18% on that 1 lakh. Okay, so 18% plus 18,000, like that will be computed. So it is important for us to know the value, and the value shall be computed in accordance with section 15. So section 15 says value means transaction value. What is transaction value? It is the price which is actually paid or payable. Okay, paid or payable to the supplier by the recipient. Recipient should pay, supplier should receive. Here we have to see it is the price which is paid or payable, but we have to see this supplier and recipient should not be related persons. If they are related, there is a possibility that the relationship may influence the price, may influence the value. Therefore, you have to take the transaction value between two unrelated persons. And one more thing also you have to see, the price should be sole consideration of supply. That means there should not be any supply flowing from the, there should not be any consideration flowing from the recipient to supplier except price. When price is the sole consideration for supply and supplier and recipients are unrelated, then transaction value shall be taken as value of taxable supply. Is it clear up to this? Yes or no? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Up to this we have covered. Now few analyses we have to do it today. Few concepts we need to cover quickly. First of all, you see, as you know, the section specifies the maximum rate of CGST can be 20%. Okay. As of now, these are various rates which are notified. Rates keeps on changing from time to time. Okay, rates which are applicable today is 0%, 0.125%, 1.5%, 2.5%, 6%, 9%, and 14%. Okay, these are various rates of CGST. You need to have an idea about this. Okay, and if you analyze what we have learned so far, that these rates are applicable on the transaction value. Now, can you explain, some of you, what is transaction value? What is your understanding of transaction value? Any one of you, please speak to me. Okay, this is transaction value.
So is it like the cost price of good,
Cost price of?
of a good, of the goods?
No, it is cost price of good. That is not the cost price for whom? Cost price of the recipient you are talking about. Okay, how to know transaction price? Let me give an example. Who is talking? May I know your name? Who is speaking?
Sir Drishti.
This thing you see. Suppose you are purchasing from something, or you are getting a supply from a supplier, or you are getting a services from getting a kind of service from me. I am a service provider, right? So some kind of service you are providing, I am providing to you, and let us say I am charging you 10,000 rupees. So between you and me, the transaction value is 10,000 rupees. Why it is 10,000 rupees? Because we know we are not related person. Okay, we are not related person. Point number one. Second thing is that nothing extra, no other consideration is flowing from you to me. Okay, so price is the sole consideration for that supply, and there is no relationship between the supplier and the recipient. Okay, in that case, 10,000 will be taken as the transaction value. Okay, right. But let us say same example. Let us say similar kind of supply. Similar kind of supply you are getting it from your sister. Same kind of service, and sister is also giving you a bill of 10,000 rupees. Now question is, can it be considered as a transaction value 10,000 rupees?
So if I'm availing any service from a related person,
Yeah.
from a related person, then the price or the charge, the price that I'm paying, or whatever they are charging, is it not a transaction price? Then what is it called?
No, it's a price, but it's not a
Yes,
transaction
sir.
price generally. Whether it is a transaction price or not, we have to see. I will tell you how to look at that point.
Okay,
So
sir.
first of all, you see, directly
Okay,
we
sir.
cannot consider that is a transaction value because the supplier and the recipient are related. So the primary condition which is there in section 15, what the section 15 says, the recipient and supplier should not be related. If they are related, I cannot take upfront, I cannot take it as the transaction value. Or you can say prima facie, I cannot take it as the transaction value. Okay, whether that is transaction value or not, we'll see that. Okay, you cannot take it transaction value. Okay, let us set some other example. So why I cannot take that thing as transaction value? Because you and your sisters are related. In my case, we can take it a transaction value because there is no relationship. One more example I am giving you. Suppose the same thing, I am providing you some services. I am giving a bill of 10,000 rupees and you will be paying me 10,000 rupees plus you are also going to do me a favor. Okay, I am requesting you, okay, fine. You also do and help me. There is a audit is going on. You come for 5 days and complete that audit. Okay, that means some other consideration is flowing from your side to me. Is it not?
Yes, sir.
Okay. In that case also, I cannot take that 10,000 rupees as the transaction value because that is not the sole consideration. Some other consideration is flowing from your side. Is it not? 10,000 rupees you are paying me, but also you are doing a favor. Let us say that worth of that favor is 5,000 rupees and actual transaction value is 50,000 rupees. Okay, since you have done a favor, I have given you a discount. Okay, so these aspects has to be taken care of to arrive at the transaction value. Suppose exact similar service I am providing to another person who is unrelated and where price is the sole consideration. The same thing I am providing to another unrelated person as a sole consideration, 10,000 rupees. Then this 10,000 rupees is the transaction value. Or let us say your sister is providing similar services to somebody else and charging 10,000 rupees, then 10,000 rupees is the transaction value. That means even if relationship is there, relationship has not affected the price. Relationship has not influenced the price. Okay, because same services, same amount is charged to some other person. That can be taken as a transaction value. Okay, this is how in different situations you can compute transaction value. You can see the comparable transactions, similar transactions, etc. To understand all this thing in detail, we have to learn the valuation rules. But I think at a very broad level, you got a fair idea how to compute transaction value. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, once again, I am going to share that screen. Yeah. So if you recapitulate, the alcoholic liquor is one of the item on which GST is not leviable. And IGST rate is, if the maximum rate of CGST is 20%, the maximum rate of IGST is 40%. Okay. When CGST is levied, in addition to that, SGST or UTGST is also levied. When maximum rate of CGST is 20%, so SGST can also be levied at 20%. So CGST, SGST taken together, it will be 40%. Okay, in the similar manner, on the same footing, you can say the maximum rate of IGST is 40%. Okay, understood? And when goods are imported into India, then IGST shall be levied. And here goods shall be, IGST shall be levied and collected as per section 3 of Customs Tariff Act 1975. Okay. that is the additional duty shall be as per Custom Tariff Act 1975 shall be collected, and this will be computed on the value, and the value also shall be determined as per Customs Act. Okay, for goods imported into India, IGST shall be computed like this, right? So if you continue our analysis further, then as you know, these are the 5 items on which GST is not levied. Okay, and there are certain items to which reverse charge mechanism is applicable. Okay, normally GST is paid on forward charge basis. We call it the forward charge because who pays? Ultimately, the burden is borne by, it is the recipient who bears the burden. But GST is collected by the supplier, and supplier deposits money with the government. But when you talk about the reverse charge mechanism, it's not the supplier, it is the recipient who is liable to pay tax to the government. Okay, when you talk about reverse charge mechanism, liability to pay tax is on the recipient. Okay, right? Yes or no? Are you getting me? Are you getting me or not?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. But I told you the liability to pay tax is on the recipient. But however, you have to remember, ultimately, always also, even in the forward charge system, forward charge mechanism also, who was bearing the impact of GST? It was always the recipient. Is it not? It is always, since it is an indirect tax, GST is an indirect tax, always the burden of tax is on the recipient. And finally, it is the ultimate consumer who bears the tax burden, who consumes the sum. So when I say reverse charge mechanism, we have to remember the compliance requirement. That means the collection, deposit, registration, etc. The compliance requirement is shifted from the recipient, shifted from the supplier to the recipient. So recipient, in addition to this financial burden of tax, he has to take the burden of compliances. He has to collect tax, he has to deposit tax, he has to file appropriate return. Okay, that is what reverse charge mechanism is. Otherwise, anyway, he is bearing the tax burden, but now he has to collect tax, deposit tax, and file appropriate returns. Right? Now, yeah, reverse charge mechanism, broadly, I covered this thing. Now, you see, I told you we have seen 2 subsections, or you can, the 2 subsection 9, which talks about reverse charge mechanism. One is subsection 3 and the other one is subsection 4. If you see at the subsection 3, that is section 9(3), it talks about the specified categories of goods and services. Right, reverse charge mechanism is applicable to some specified categories of goods and services. Now we need to know what are the specified categories of goods or specified categories of services to which reverse charge is applicable. Okay, just have a look at this. It varies from time to time, but as of now, these are the specified categories of goods or services to which reverse charge is applicable. Okay, I'm showing you certain goods. Can you read it? These are the goods.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please read all these items to which RCM is applicable.
Yes, sir. So goods like cashew nuts, not shell or peel, BD wrapper leaves or tobacco leaves, supply of lottery, silk yarn, used vehicles, seized and confiscated goods, old and used goods, waste and scrap, raw cotton, etc. are taxable under reverse charge.
Yes. Okay, these are the, just like just now we have understood, that section 9(3) talks about the specified categories of goods and services. And coming to specified categories of goods, there are a few other items are also there. We'll be covering that thing. Then, first we'll cover this specified category of goods, then specified category of services also we will be covering. Earlier I had given an example of this advocate service, lawyer service, that will be covering. Now, here, before covering that, one more thing, one more concept. In fact, this is goods transport agency. That's a different kind of thing. We'll be covering it. Just a minute. Okay. Now, coming to certain services. One important service is GTA. Popularly it is called as GTA. That is goods transport agency service. For this supply, are you able to see the screen? No, I
Yes,
think.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Screen is visible to you? PPT?
Yes, sir.
It shows me screen sharing has been stopped. Okay, it's visible to you, no? Fine. So, okay, let me again continue from that point. So these are some goods, to which reverse charge mechanism is applicable. Now coming to certain services part. One of the services to which reverse charge mechanism is applicable is GTA, or goods transport service, goods transport agency service. Okay. So if certain services supply made by GTA in respect of transportation of the goods by road to certain people, that means if goods are transported, they are supplied to these people, then reverse charge mechanism will be applicable, not in all situations. Okay, understood? Yes or no? Goods transport agency means these are the transporters who transport goods from one place to another place. Right? They also offer a kind of service. They also make a kind of supply of service. Right? And to this service, reverse charge mechanism is applicable provided they make supply to these people. Okay, suppose you and I receive a supply from the goods transport agency, then reverse charge mechanism will not be applicable. Why it is not applicable? Because we are individuals, and in this list, individual is not there. But if they supply to a factory which is registered or governed under Factories Act, or they supply to a society registered under Society Registration Act, or they supply to a cooperative society which are established under any law, or a person registered under CGST Act, IGST Act, SGST Act, or UTGST Act, any registered person, or a body corporate. What is body corporate? I will be explaining you. Or a partnership firm. Here, partnership firm also includes LLP. Or any casual taxable person. If supply is made by GTA to these persons, the reverse charge mechanism will be applicable. Is it clear to you? Yes or no? We'll be learning in detail other treatments of GTA, goods transport agency. But right now, you understand the supply made by goods transport agencies are liable to reverse charge provided these are the parties who are recipient. If recipient is a factory, recipient is a society or cooperative society or a registered person or body corporate or a partnership firm or casual taxable person, then reverse charge mechanism will be applicable. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, there are certain conditions for reverse charge mechanism. Okay. For goods transport agency, he has got an option that he can pay CGST at the rate of 6%. If he chooses that option, if goods transport agency chooses that option, that he himself will be paying GST at the rate of 6%. 6% CGST I'm talking about. Then reverse charge mechanism is not applicable. Okay, fine. Are you getting in this condition? Are you understanding this point? Goods transport agency has got, in fact, a choice. If he wants, he can pay CGST at the rate of 6%. Right? In that case, reverse charge mechanism will not be applicable. Are you getting this point? We will be learning in detail about treatment of goods transport agency. At that time, we will be learning what are the options available to goods transport agency. Some situation he has got an option to pay tax at 5%. Some situation he has got an option to pay tax at 6%. Okay, when I say 5% means 5% CGST, or 6% means 6% CGST. In addition to that, SGST will be there. Okay, so this condition also you have to remember. Right. One more condition relating to goods transport agency, you have to remember that the reverse charge mechanism shall not apply to services provided by goods transport agency by way of transport of goods to these three parties: to a department established by central government, state government, and union territory. So if supplies are made to these departments, the reverse charge mechanism is not applicable. Or supplies made to local authorities, or supplies made to government agencies, the reverse charge mechanism will not be applied. Okay, government agency. But these agencies, the department should have been registered under CGST Act. If they are registered under CGST Act, then reverse charge mechanism will not be applicable in this situation. Okay. Right. So normal condition is that, I repeat once again, for goods transport agencies, reverse charge mechanism is applicable when they make supply to these persons. However, if goods transport agency voluntarily choosing to pay GST at the rate of 6%, then reverse charge mechanism will not be applicable. Third case is that if goods transport agency is supplying to a department established by central government, state government, union territory, or to local authorities, or to government agencies registered under CGST Act, then also reverse charge mechanism will not be applicable. Okay, understood this point? So that I can move to the next point. Okay, should I move? Yes or no?
Can you please repeat?
Yeah, once again I'm repeating at this stage. Whatever we have learned, let us first quickly recapitulate up to this. I told you one thing.
No, sir, just
Sorry?
the last slide. Actually, I didn't.
Yeah, I'm repeating from the beginning now. I told you that the Act section 9.3, according to section 9.3, certain class of goods and services they may be notified to which reverse charge mechanism may be applicable. And this is the list of goods I showed you, that these are the goods when supply is made, reverse charge mechanism can be applicable. Okay, these are the notified goods. Now coming to services, goods, this is the list. Coming to services, services also there is a list, and in that list the first kind of service is GTA, or goods transport agency services. So services provided by goods transport agency are liable to reverse charge. Okay, but here you have to see, only when these services are provided by GTA to these persons, then only it is liable to GTA. Okay, suppose a goods transport agency is supplying some material to you. You are not a registered person. You are an individual. You are not covered under this category. None of this list. You are not there. You are not there in this list. Therefore, reverse charge mechanism is not applicable. You are not supposed to pay tax on reverse charge mechanism. But if GTA is supplying to a factory, to a society, or to a cooperative society, or a registered person, or a body corporate, or a partnership firm, or a casual taxable person, then reverse charge mechanism is applicable. Is it clear up to this? Okay, but there is one exception. One exception is that if voluntarily the GTA has chosen to pay tax at the rate of 6%. Okay, we have to understand that rate applicable, CGST rate applicable to GTA service is 6%. There is another option where he can pay also 5%. I'll be telling you in later part. So if he chooses to pay tax at 6%, if he pay tax at 6%, he can avail ITC also. Then reverse charge is not applicable to the services provided by that GTA. And one more condition is that if supplies are made by GTA to a department established by central government, state government, or union territory, or local authority, or government agencies registered under CGST Act, then also reverse charge mechanism is not applicable. Is it clear up to this? GTA part.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, next, one more category of service to which reverse charge mechanism is applicable. We have discussed it earlier also. This is called legal service by an individual advocate. So, services provided by an individual advocate is also liable to reverse charge mechanism. That means the person who is availing the services has to pay tax. Okay. Services provided by an individual advocate. Okay. And also it specifies including senior advocate. Advocate includes senior advocate or a firm of advocates. So firm is also included. First, individual advocate, senior advocate, or firm of advocates by way of legal services. If legal services are provided by an individual advocate, senior advocate, or a firm of advocates, then reverse charge mechanism is applicable. But here you have to see the services should have been provided to any business entity. Okay, so provided to any business entity. If these services are provided to an services provided to a non-business entity, then RCM is not applicable. Okay, and as I told you, advocate includes senior advocate and firm of advocates. And when I say legal service means advices, legal advices, consultancy, assistance, okay, or assistance in any branch of law. Okay, representational services before court, tribunal, or any authority, all these are included in legal services. Okay, if this kind of legal services are provided to a business entity, then RCM is applicable. Is it clear? Is it clear? Yes or no? I think it is clear up to this. So there are few other services also to which reverse charge mechanism is applicable. Third one is services provided by an arbitral tribunal, services provided by a sponsorship services. Okay, services supplied by government. These are the list of certain items. Okay, then you see other items like renting of immovable property. Then TDR, FSI related services, long-term land lease services, services supplied by a director, services supplied by an insurance agent, then services supplied by a recovery agent, then services supplied by author, music composer, photographer, artist, etc. And then services supplied by members of overseeing committee. Yes.
So in all these services, reverse charge mechanism is applicable.
Applicable. This is a list of services
Okay,
I'm showing. Then direct selling agents, then business facilitator. These are the list of services. Oh, one more service is there. Agent of business correspondence, security services. These are the list of services to which RCM is applicable. First is GTA, second is legal service we have covered. All other services will be covered in our next session. Okay, we'll take a break now. We'll catch up in the next session. Right, we'll continue with all other services to which reverse charge mechanism is applicable. Thank you very much.